right, let's do it.
We are now on air. We are live with Conor and Brittany. Beautiful people.
What's up, guys?
This is actually happening. You guys are here. So excited. We got 17 people in the crowd right now, 17 people in the audience to ask unlimited questions all hour long. But first, I'm curious, what are your topics for today?
Well, today we're going to be introducing ourselves. This is going to be a real introduction, welcome. Anyone who wants to ask us anything can do that. But I think specifically we're going to be talking about relationships, inspiring, authentic, real, unique relationships.
Totally. Yeah, we're excited to share from our experience and just answer really any questions that you guys have and go from there.
Cool. You guys were super helpful for me at the Woodstock Fruit Festival a few months ago. We were doing some acro together and seeing you guys two work together and asking any questions. You guys just gave perfect answers and really patient with everyone. So I know this is going to be a great talk, and I'm excited for everyone to get their questions answered and for them to hear a different perspective on inspiring authentic relationships from you guys. So thanks so much, and I'll open up the floor to you guys right here.
All right.
And I'll see you back in about an hour's time.
All right, brother. Peace.
Yay.
Yeah, there we go. Hold on. I want more of me in the screen.
I want me too.
Okay.
And I want to know where we look to with our audience.
Yeah,
on the camera?
we'll look right here.
Okay.
How are you guys doing tonight, or this afternoon, or this morning, wherever you guys might tune in from? It's awesome to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. This is definitely my first live chat, and it's cool. It was cool just to see your comments at the beginning on the side there. So thank you guys for writing.
And if you want, I think we are going to spend a little bit of time. Hi, I'm doing great, Destiny! Yay!
Oh,
I was just going to say that we are going to be introducing ourselves for maybe 15, 20 minutes. But feel free to just post along the side of the queue, and we will see what you are writing, and we will say hello back to you if we can, and we'll definitely swing it back around after we're finished kind of saying hi to answer your questions.
Yeah, so maybe we can start really broad just for anybody who's never seen our faces before. My name is Brittany.
I'm Conor.
And we have a YouTube channel together where we present on inspiring authentic relationships, and we also both have our own YouTube channels and businesses in addition to having this joint business.
And so, throughout the next month, throughout this series at the Vegan World Summit, we are going to do presentations on our own separately, and we're also going to do them together. And I like talking about my own stuff, but I actually really like and love talking about our stuff. So it's exciting that we get to get started together on this.
Yeah, so our goal is to speak mostly about relationships today, but also if you do have questions that are more based on our minimalist life or nomadic life or RV life or acrobatics
or
practice.
sex or anything you want. I want it to feel super free and open for you all. And I think as our channel comes across, we're going to do the same thing. We're really just going to share from experience and encourage you to live and find the best way to follow your unique kind of path in this life. So
definitely, we love. I know we're a little maybe out of the box, and I think that that's really fun, and I think a lot of you guys are too. It's why you're here, and we might not be out of the box in all the same ways,
right?
But the idea is that we're all inspired. We all want to be more inspired, and that's why we share with each other. So
and I think that's why we're here, checking in and saying hi.
So whether you totally resonate with the things we're saying, or you're no, that's not for me, that's awesome, because it gives you more data on you, and that's what we're hoping to offer you in this hour, is just more data on you, what makes you tick, how to help you find what makes you come alive and pursue more of your passions.
Yeah, so maybe we can talk a little bit about our approach to relationships and our approach within our relationship.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So we have a video out there. It's one of our first videos that we did together on our channel, talking about undefined relationships or relationships with no labels. And we love that approach. And again, like Brittany was saying, some of the things we present to you today and on our channel might not be for you. And so we don't want you to get the impression that this is the right way to do it. What we want to share with you is this is the way we're doing it, and it's working, and here's why, and here's why we do it this way.
Yeah, so we talk about having this no labels relationship, and really what that means to us is that we love waking up every day, or even every moment, arriving as free individuals and just deciding where we want to go from there. And in terms of our relationship, that looks like just like choosing who we want to spend our time with, how we want to spend that time, just based on how we link up with each individual in each moment. So some people, or like sometimes when we're trying to give a more specific idea of what our relationship is, we'll say it's a polyamorous relationship, an open relationship, a non-monogamous relationship. But really, I just love saying, like, this is Connor and I'm Brittany, and like we love spending time together. We're just like two humans who love the heck out of each other and want to support one another in everything.
I think there's a lot of things that we do in our lives together because we really love doing it. Like we live together in this RV where we're in at right now, a 19-foot Winnebago on a Toyota truck. We have businesses together. We run the Fruit Winter Festival in Thailand every January together. We do acrobatics together. So there's a lot of things. Oh, and we have sex together. You know, we sleep together. We hug each other. We support each other. We love each other. And so if you look at that kind of dynamic and relationship from kind of a typical perspective, you might say, well, they're boyfriend and girlfriend, or, you know, maybe one day they'll get married or this kind of thing. And that makes sense. But we also really wanted to be seen as individuals, and not just be seen by the world as individuals, but really feel individual in our connection. And from that place, come together as two full human beings and connect without the label of girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, those kinds of things that maybe set us up in a construct that we don't necessarily want to define ourselves in every single day.
But we do come from, you know, pretty traditional backgrounds, or just like the society where we're taught, where I think that the underlying assumption is a more traditional, like monogamous type partnership. And so, you know, we've been relearning. We've been relearning, reteaching ourselves based on what our ideal is and what would feel like the best for us. And we've had some things that have helped us along the way, like support, you know, like supporting one another, because it's not always easy, or, you know, because it does look different than the outside world may be doing it. And it feels, that's like one of our pillars. We have all these different like words that evoke this feeling inside of us that we're going for, and support has been a big one lately. I think it's really on my mind. And supporting one another in whatever we desire, and that might be like something that brings up a challenge for a part of me, but overall, I know that what I want is for Connor to pursue his highest delight, and I want to be supported in my highest delight. And we also really want to come together in all these areas that we share, like the same highest delight, and pursue that together.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I totally feel that. And support is a huge one. And you know, the actual outcome or the style of the relationship that you desire to create in the world can look like anything you want it to look like. We both think that there's some fundamental kind of pillars that we've found that are kind of like key to any really healthy, successful, long-term, if you want it to be long-term relationship. And all of those pillars that you can use with other people, you can use first and foremost with yourself. So, you know, if you're not finding support within yourself, it's going to be a little bit challenging, a little bit different, a little difficult to find support with other people, or to offer support when you're not getting it from yourself. So there's other areas that are like that. You know, we're talking about how to develop a unique, really authentic love between you and the external world. But if you're not really centered and don't have a good understanding of yourself, or a good relationship with yourself, or a fundamental foundation in self-love, it might be a little bit challenging to kind of find that in the external world. So we really try and teach self-love always, you know, coming into our relationships from a place of self-understanding and self-love.
For sure, and I really get the sense that everybody that's here and that's listening is probably on a self-led journey. You know, like it's led you to a plant-based diet or topics surrounding that, and that's all a form of loving yourself and saying like, hey, I deserve the best. I deserve to be taking in the best nutrients, like whether that be food or interactions or movement, whatever it is, like that's feeding you in a way that's really important. And so, yeah, like right on.
Yeah.
I think you're doing a great job with it.
And I just want to say hi, Jara Sky. We love you too. And Brianna, love you. Vegan World Summit even chimed in. They like your earrings, man.
Yeah, it's been really cool just to
You guys
glance
are
over it
great.
and see this feed going.
Yeah, so we have this feed over here on the right. You can comment as we're going, and we'll definitely read everything you post. So.
Yeah, so I'm so glad that you brought up this thing about like primarily having this be a self journey, because I think that when we came together and started connecting in all these different areas, we have really been pursuing our own journeys and our own self-growth for a number of years. And that's been really helpful in that we have these foundations to, I don't want to say to fall back on, but like as a structure for what we're doing.
Yeah, that self journey that I was on was really important. I was in a very traditional long-term relationship, like 12 years long, with one other being, and it was good, and also I kind of lost myself in it, and I lost myself in life, and lost myself in work, and in alcohol, and all these different things. And it took me a while to kind of get back in there and say, like, who the heck am I, and how do I go about changing my life? And what I found was, like, love. You know, I gotta love myself. And coming from that place and then aligning with Brittany was the best thing that I could do for my external relationships.
Totally. You down to talk about a couple more of our pillars?
Yeah, definitely.
So, freedom. I feel like freedom is at the basis of a lot of what we talk about. Like I said, we really like to greet every moment and check in with ourselves and say, what are we feeling? What are we really desiring in this moment? And how can we be really true to that and express that fully out and like experience it in the external world, what we're feeling internally.
Yeah, and freedom, I think, is one big pillar that can bring up a lot for people. You know, when you let someone else be completely free and support them in that, what's going to happen? Who are they going to be? What actions are they going to take? It can be kind of frightening. And I think we have seen a lot of modeling to us in the outside world of relationships that keep freedom at bay in order to create a sense of safety.
Right.
But what we've found is that true safety follows true freedom. And the more we can allow our partners, our friends, our family, just other human beings in our lives to be themselves, the safer our relationships are. There are less surprises, there's less scary stuff that comes up. You know, if we really allow them and really support them, you know how stuff is. Like, if you don't get to express yourself for a while, it makes you kind of crazy. And all of a sudden, you're going to be, like, expressing yourself in ways that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. And that's what we're looking to really kind of, I don't want to say avoid, but we want to encourage freedom that feels, like, good and sustainable, and, like, we're able and allowed to express ourselves. And that is welcomed.
And we find that when we have that freedom, we're able to follow things through and see what's truly there. I think that's become one of my biggest desires is like for all humans who want to connect in whatever ways to be able to follow that through in the ways that like they all want to link up in, because then you get to see what's there for you. I know that there were so many times when I was in a monogamous partnership and maybe I wasn't fully expressing myself or wasn't getting all my needs met. And then I'd like start to develop this weird sort of like crush on this random person, like this random bartender or something. And then it turned into this like year-long thing and I never even talked to the person. And it turns out like I spent so much energy on that where like it wasn't actually adding value to my life. And I feel like now I get to follow through the desires I have, whether that's just like mentally following them through in my head and seeing like what I want to do with them, or talking to you about it, or sharing with somebody else about it, or actually like just like talking to a person that I wouldn't normally have talked to, or even being able to like connect physically or sexually with that person. Whatever my desire is, I get to like know it, really know it. I'm not afraid of it. I get to explore it, and then you get to see like the areas that you link up with people, which is really special.
Yeah, and I think that word I was thinking of was like not being stifled.
Oh yeah.
Really supporting each other in our freedom keeps one from that feeling of being stifled, which is something that I really experienced hardcore in my previous like long-term relationship, was a feeling of being kind of like stifled and had the passion of life kind of
Draining?
it felt really draining. And so to find life again, you know, and feel invigorated and to feel like I don't ever want to lose it again. For me, this style of relationship is really, really vital and important. But it doesn't have to mean that in order to have freedom, you have to be polyamorous or open. You can set up guidelines for yourself in your relationships to have safety and also have freedom. And that's where communication really comes in. We are like huge advocates for healthy communication.
Yeah, I think compassionate communication is definitely one of our pillars. And I mean, all of these feel like they come down to love in one way or another, like unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's helpful to be more specific. And so we found that really communicating with one another and with ourselves and with everybody else we interact with to the best of our ability in any given moment with compassion makes so much possible. You can talk about so many things when you share from a place of compassion, and something that's really helped us with that is what Conor calls parts language, or in the type of therapy that Conor practices, they call parts language, and it's basically just like being able to say, you know, right now a part of me is feeling really excited about this, and there's a little part of me that's feeling just aware of the time and where we're at, and there's a part of me that's feeling just chill and whatever. It's just being able to express all the different things and feel like you can give voice to them without it being like, I'm feeling really anxious right now.
Because that's true, but there's also a lot of other things going on. And so in compassionate communication, using this parts language as a tool can be really helpful. It takes the pressure off of both sharing and receiving the information of how a person or how you are feeling. So like Brittany was saying, you know, if she were expressing that she was feeling anxious, it would be like, well, part of me feels anxious and another part of me feels this way. And so to receive something like that feels like a lot easier, and you can feel compassion, I think access compassion easier from that place.
Yeah. And with that tool, we're able to talk about like, all the things, you know, topics that people feel like we get a lot of questions about, like jealousy or, you know, just like logistics of how things work and all that. And that's what makes it all possible. And at the base of that, I think is just unconditional love. It's just saying like, I love you, Conor, for who you are, regardless of anything. Like, I just see you, and I really love you exactly as you are, and I want to support you in finding out more about who you are and about how to express yourself as authentically as possible. Do you want to talk soon?
Do I want to do what?
Q&A soon?
I do.
Okay.
We're just about at 20 minutes, and so we do have like a couple of questions that were queued up before that we can take a peek at. But also, yeah, just curious if you all have any questions. I know we kind of just like said a lot of stuff in a very short amount of time, and that's cool. And also really want to make sure that we target some questions.
Yeah. Let's read this one.
Diane. Hi, Diane.
Shall we read it aloud?
Yeah, go for it.
It's tricky to ask a question that doesn't contain a label now that I think about it. So let's see. Do each of you expect that each of you won't have sex with other people? Or if you did that, you would discuss it with each other first? One advantage of labels is that it helps others understand how to interact with you, although I'm sure it isn't necessary. That's such a good point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think labels can be really helpful.
Yeah, and definitely if you have an idea of wanting, you know, the external world to interact with you in a certain way, and a label fits that, badass. I think for us, you know, we really do want to be seen as like Conor and Brittany, and then, you know, just like go from there. So so I love it when people really see us as individuals, and also kind of you know, see us as like a partnership that we do have in these other areas, but not necessarily defining us in a particular way.
And I'm also totally down with people using specific words that might be considered labels, like when doing something like phrasing a question.
Oh, yeah.
Let's make it super helpful.
Yeah. We're not going to be sticklers about that. I love these questions. Thank you so much for asking them. So, yeah, do you want to?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So we basically have no set guidelines or expectations. So in terms of connecting sexually with other people, it's just all open, free for us to pursue whatever is exciting us, whatever we want to, and that we can do so on our own terms, and that like there's no assumption or rule that I need to chat with Connor about it first or afterwards or during, and just basically that it can be, it's just really open and fluid.
Yeah. For us, we've just set it up that way, where we just really want to support each other in being 100% free and to do whatever we want. And, you know, our desire, like 99 times out of 100, is generally to share with each other throughout our processes. So that generally means, you know, if we were interested in someone, we would be talking to each other about it. We would be talking about, like, what kind of things are you interested in about them? Or, like, do you think you're going to, like, you know, get fancy with them or what? And
yeah, we're just like buddies sometimes.
Yeah, it's really fun for us. And that is what I want in my relationships and my friendships and with you in particular. I really want to feel close and like I'm allowed to share my experiences and that they're going to be supported and held for me. And so it's my desire to share all that stuff, but it's not a requirement.
And also, like, there are times where it feels like it wouldn't be exciting for me, or maybe it's like bringing up some resistance to share something, and so I don't share at those times.
Yeah.
We really love sharing when we're feeling inspired to do so, and going from there. We noticed, like, in the beginning when we started practicing this type of relationship a couple of years ago with each other, that, like, there was some sort of, like, sometimes we would feel urgency around, like, okay, like, connected with this person, we came back together, and now
I have
it's
to
like,
share.
I have to share, and, like,
I have to get it off my chest.
Get fancy.
Yeah.
And also, like Connor was saying, we're really all about creating the kind of relationship that we both really want. We link up in a lot of areas, and we want a lot of the same things. And a lot of that is intimacy with each other in all these realms. Like, I really want to be Connor's bro when he's interested in another human and can be like, yeah, damn, they're hot. Like, how was that? Oh my God, that sounds amazing. Like, I want that. I'm so excited for you and your connections there. And I want to be that person as well as your lover.
Yeah. And it's a really, for me, like, that's a badass challenge for myself, you know, to be able to switch roles like that in a sense. Like, to be Brittany's really, like, intimate lover and feel like a really strong heart-to-heart connection. And then to be able to have this other space where I'm able to just be like, yeah, dude, good for you. Like, you got that. Like, you know, I mean, in a fun way, like in a respectful, loving, and fun way. But for real, you know, it's fun to feel like supported there.
For sure.
And there's a lot of fun to be had, like when you're just bros with someone, when you're just homies and you're just hanging out and you're just talking the fun stuff. So, so that. Great question.
I love that question. Thank you so much for opening up and sharing your question.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, they wrote a question.
You did, and I think we can click on this thing and maybe see it. Okay, let's see.
It's Fran. Let's check out Fran.
Okay, Fran, you're there.
Let's see, Fran. I'm going to read it aloud.
Sure. Hi, Britt and Connor. Smiley, grin face, emoticon. I would love if you could give me some advice on how to approach my girlfriend, the subject about polyamory. I'm starting to feel like polyamory fits really well for me. I'm ad-libbing. I hope that's okay. I'm 25 years old. This is the first relationship with a girl. We've had a couple. We've been a couple for 9 months, but she is super monogamish or monogamy oriented. And yeah, you're just feeling like you want to start moving it into more of a polyamorous kind of open relationship. Yeah, cool. That's awesome that you're feeling that and that you're thinking about it and you're reaching out, trying to find, I think what it sounds like, good ways to communicate that desire.
For sure. I really love this topic, and it feels like close to home in a way for me, because when I started becoming more interested and aware of polyamory, I was in a monogamous partnership, or like a monogamish partnership, in the sense that, I think that the assumption was monogamy, even though it had never quite been talked about. And we did really support each other in a way that was like, we want to choose each other every day, and we want to be free. And it was less structured than a lot of relationships, and still the assumption, I think, is often monogamy. And I think one thing that was really helpful for me was, first of all, knowing that I wasn't doing anything wrong. Like, it wasn't like I had signed, like, I had made a vow and I was breaking it. And I say that kind of, well, I think even if we do make vows, and there's nothing wrong with breaking them, meaning that it feels really important to me to be authentic and real in every moment. And I expect that all of us are going to grow and change and shift. And what feels like the really intimate part to me with a partner is wanting to do that with them and wanting to communicate what's real for me with them. And starting by approaching it from that place, I found has been really helpful. And that place being, hey, like, I really care about you. I really care about our connection. And I want to keep taking it to the next level. That's my desire. And I'm feeling really excited about this thing, and I want to share it with you. I want to just start by sharing what's exciting me about it with you, so that I can share more of myself with you.
Yeah, I think that's a great approach. I think what could be helpful would be to get more clarity on the reasons, why this is feeling important to you.
Yeah.
Because then you can present that, in a more clear way. I know for myself, sometimes I have like a strong desire for something, and I know that it's important, but I don't necessarily have all the words that I want to describe it to someone else. And even to kind of describe it to myself, or to feel it in a more like right brain kind of way. So taking some time to write about this stuff can be really important. And I know it might sound kind of cheesy or whatever, but like literally having a piece of paper and at the top writing something like, why do I want polyamory? And then writing and just see what comes out, because there might be some stuff that is surprising to you and that brings a lot more self-understanding. And once you have that, you can have more self-love. And from that place, I think communicating can feel more clear, and you can have more space for compassion for your partner. The other thing is to, if you don't mind, just like to approach these conversations from a really compassionate place. Because what's exciting about this is the potential to connect more with your partner. It's not about the end result of, okay, now we're going to be open, or now we're not going to be open. I mean, that is obviously something you're going to figure out. But what's really exciting here is that it's an otherwise kind of taboo topic that you probably haven't chatted about yet. It can bring up a lot for people. It brings out a lot for people most of the time, which means you're going to be exposing more of you with your partner, and they're going to be exposing more of themselves with you. And so to find a really safe, loving, and compassionate place to do that in, you have the potential to grow your connection like beyond belief. And that's what Brittany and I keep coming back to, is this type of relationship for us pushes us, it pushes us to share more, to connect more with ourselves, with our fears, with our vulnerabilities, and then to share those with each other, to find support for one another when it can feel kind of challenging. And then we're like always falling in love. Yeah. And isn't that like kind of like the best thing, to be like continually falling in love with someone? It's pretty badass.
I feel like there's always more of you to love and appreciate. And you're like a new human every day.
And we all are, we are all, like you said, growing and shifting and changing all the time. So it makes sense that what we wanted yesterday, we may not want today. And there's no shame in that, There's no shame in that. But to be able to express that in a compassionate way, and to hear other people's expression of that in a compassionate way, dude, that's power.
And I think, like, when you say that in that compassionate way, what I think of is, like, recognizing, like, I know this might, like, this could potentially be a sensitive topic, and I really want to create space for you to be able to share anything that's coming up for you with me, and for you to know that, like, I see you there, and I support you, and just letting it be okay for everybody to be feeling what they're feeling, and to know, like, we don't have to be experiencing the same thing right now. We can still love the heck out of each other. We can still support each other, and we don't have to figure out anything right now. Like, we don't have to, like, plot out a whole plan about how this is going to go over time. We can just, like, be here loving each other right now in this, like, truly real moment.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Is that helpful?
Cool.
Super helpful. Cool.
I feel like I'm suppressing this desire to connect with other women, and it doesn't feel healthy at all. So I want to improve my relationship with her.
Right.
Yeah.
Without feeling like
an asshole.
Totally.
Dude, that's so beautiful.
Well, you're really not an asshole. It's okay to have feelings for other people. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in really anything. Like we feel things, you know? We feel a lot, and that's pretty great.
I think it's really cool.
And it's there's no right or wrong way to kind of approach this stuff, but I do think that there is some good options out there to approach it in as healthy of a way as you can possibly do it. So yeah, thanks so much for asking.
Fran. That
really
was
awesome to have the opportunity to kind of share that.
Yeah. Okay, we have
what else we got?
Okay, I like this one from the Vegan World Summit. I feel like might as well answer their questions since they gave us this great spot to chat in.
How do you deal with your partner's jealousy in a 3-way relationship?
That's a great question.
It's a great question, man. So that is
some
like
fun experiences with that.
Yeah, we have. So like, okay, so Brittany and I are like connecting, and then like maybe Brittany is connecting with someone else, and they are having some things come up jealousy related. Yeah. So either Brittany's partner that she's connecting with, or my other partner that I'm connecting with. Is that the question?
Yeah. So it's like not us,
but the other person
how to deal with their jealousy. That's a great question. Man, I love how this feels like it's like a nice segue right from that talk about compassionate communication and like unconditional love, like just being able to love this other fellow human in whatever they're experiencing. And it makes sense that jealousy comes up for a lot of people. I think that it's something that has a huge place in monogamy. Like we're taught jealousy in a lot of ways in monogamous relationships. And it's been an ever unfolding journey for us in these type of relationships. I think that like we experienced a lot more jealousy, now not so much, but the goal is not to not experience jealousy.
Right.
I think the goal for us has been to welcome everything that's coming up and to understand it, to love it, to be able to communicate about it in a more full and loving way. And so knowing that and having had those experiences, it makes it so much easier for me to feel for another person, especially somebody that I'm connecting with or you're connecting with, and be like, yeah, like I can really understand that. And I could understand another person feeling things because we have a strong connection. So them feeling like
maybe they want more energy from us than we're wanting to give. Or maybe they're feeling, like they don't like me and they really like you, or something like that. I'm just trying to think about personal experience. I don't think that I've necessarily connected with anyone that had shared with me that they were particularly jealous of you.
Yeah, I feel like,
but like it makes sense that it could come up. Do you feel like you've connected with people that have specifically said,
for sure. Yeah, for sure. And I feel like I was able to hold a lot of space for them. I feel like you were able to hold a lot of space for them.
That's true.
And that's been really maybe more space than you needed.
Yeah,
which is just so beautiful. And we love all types of humans, so it's really cool. Like cool for us to have to be interacting with each other's partners, like when they're down for it and when we're interested in it. So I think like what comes to mind is like I don't feel like there's anything to deal with. I think it's just like for us finding more love, more space to hold, and to recognize somebody's experience, because most of the time I don't think people need things to change necessarily. Right. I don't think that they want advice. I think they just want to be heard and really loved and acknowledged.
Yeah, I was just going to say be seen, which is, they just really want to be seen and be acknowledged. I think that feels so good. So, yes, and I like that idea that, we're not really dealing with anything as if it were a problem or an issue. Not that the wording of your question is wrong or anything like that, but, just the approach, like our narrative can really construct how we feel about these things. So if we're approaching these things as like, oh man, I got to deal with this shit, that can already set us up for feeling a certain way. But if it's like, oh, wow, this is a great opportunity for me to kind of like hold space for this person so that they can feel seen, and then we can share and grow together around something that's feeling uncomfortable for them. that sets us up for success because we can't go wrong.
I love that. And just like knowing that it's like, it's in a moment, you know, maybe the part of them felt jealousy in a moment, maybe a part of us feels jealousy in a moment, and just being able to see all of them. Like, doesn't mean they're a jealous person or they have shit they have to figure out. It's like, cool. Like, I can see all of them while I can also see this jealous part of them.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that question. We've got a couple of other ones over here. I'll start up here.
Rose.
So, Rose, how do you cope with unrequited feelings? Yeah, I met this girl this year who I cared about in a way that I'd never felt before. I can understand that. I was attracted to her completely because of her heart. It had nothing to do with her physical appearance. It wouldn't have mattered at all to you how she looked. She expressed she felt something too, but was needing to be alone in her life right now, and I respect that. But my heart aches, and I don't know what to do.
That's so beautiful. Yeah, unrequited love is like...
It's like the best and the worst all at once.
Yeah, because it has the ability to stay in this space of like that honeymoon phase almost, or like this even before honeymoon, like the crush phase, because it never like
ultra passion
takes off.
Yeah,
that's a really good question.
Well, I mean, again, you know, I think that this is it's just a badass emotion to be experiencing, and nothing that needs to feel like it has to change. I know that those feelings can feel uncomfortable because I've had them. I think like every human being has had something like that come up for them.
Totally.
And I do think that it varies from person to person. So like, you know, we're all different, but we're all kind of the same at the same time. There's nothing to change. There's nothing to do. There's nothing that needs to be done. It can be an opportunity for you to get to know that love that you're feeling a little bit deeper, and to decide what do you really want to do with it, you know? Because you do have options.
I've had some cool experiences feeling attraction for somebody, not necessarily like feeling like I fell really hard for them, but feeling attracted to people, and I've expressed it on an occasion and it was not reciprocated in the same way. And I felt like I was able to see them more, they could see me more, and then I could let that go in a way. It's like I had followed it through for myself, and then it was like, okay, like you're not interested in pursuing things in the way I was thinking right now, and it felt kind of like, okay, cool, like I want to put my energy elsewhere, and like I still really appreciate that human, but I noticed that like I don't feel the same desires to like connect physically with them as I originally was, because I was like, okay, like that's not an area where we're going to connect right now. And so I think that's been helpful for me in those situations. It's like acknowledging like, okay, cool, like that could be a thing, and we could have connections with lots of people in a sense, but it's like if we're not both like down to sync up there at that moment, it's like maybe it'll happen another time, maybe not, but for right now, like I want to find other ways I can use my energy to get my needs met. It doesn't mean like I don't love this person anymore. It just means like I see that, I recognize it, and now I'm going to like keep living my life and focusing on other things that really excite me and other connections that are really exciting me.
Yeah, I do feel like I've had different times, different experiences with this, and one in particular I'm thinking about kind of lasted on and off for like a really long time.
Oh yeah, that's
and it kind of like ripped my heart out a few different times, you know, because like we would come together and like align, and I felt like all this love and so much connection, and then I would kind of express like I wanted it to go this way, and she was like, oh well, nah. And I was like, you just killed me again. And man, that stuff was hard. And I wrote some really great poetry, and I feel like I did some great artwork, and it fueled a lot of creative endeavors. And ultimately what it brought me was a connection with myself. The deepest pain that I felt there was actually, I think, a reflection of some love that I needed from me. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily true for you, but I think that it's a good place to always look. When we feel a lot of pain for a long time around these things, I think that it might be a message to ourselves, from ourselves, saying, hey, I actually need your love most of all. And so, you know, I mean, it's, again, just an opportunity to ask that question, to turn it into ourselves and say, hey, like, do you need more love? Connor, do you need more love from me? And generally it's like, yeah, why not? Let's do this thing. So maybe that's something to think about. Maybe that's something that you can play around with, and just literally ask yourself that question sometime. Just see what happens.
Yeah, let's read this other one. How would you recommend encouraging a partner who doesn't have much for dreams or goals? I've tried to open conversation with my partner by asking him what his aspirations and goals are, but he tells me he doesn't have any. This is so hard for me to hear and honestly breaks my heart. How can I encourage him to find what makes him happy and start setting goals for himself? I want this for him because I love him and because I know how rewarding it is to smash goals. And we love you, Brianna. Thanks for all your support.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think we want the best for other people.
I was also just thinking, side note, that it would be cool if we can try to, maybe we can keep our responses a little shorter so we can try to get in all these questions before the end of our chat.
Sounds good.
Cool, let's do it. Okay. One thing that we've noticed in like all these other different areas we're pursuing, whether it be like plant-based diet or minimalism or open relationships, is that we often get really excited about it and want to share it with others, which we do. But like sometimes, I know in the beginning of these journeys, it's felt like for me, like I'm going to tell everyone, and I need them to experience it because, like, I know how badass it is. And I think sharing from a place of excitement and then allowing others to find their own connection with it has been really helpful for me, and like letting go of a desire to lead their journey has been, again, helpful for me, because ultimately, like, we can't, like, everyone is on their own path and everyone's going to choose their own way of getting there.
Yeah, I think that everyone's journey in this life is really unique and different. I know that there were times in my life when I also didn't feel like I had any goals really or desires, and there were other things going on for me that felt like I was depressed. I'm not saying that this your partner is or anything like that, but from my experience, I was depressed. I was like feeling a loss of passion in my life. I wasn't sure how to get it. And what I ultimately needed was the love for myself. And to find that on your own can be challenging at times. But I remember my partner kind of wanting me to be a little different, wanting things to change for me. And to be honest, like at that time, it didn't really help me very much. But what did feel good was just being supported right where I was. And it turned out like ultimately she needed something to be different for her. And so our relationship, changed. Like we stopped living together. We stopped being in the partnership that we had previously established. I'm not suggesting that needs to happen for you or anything like that. I'm just sharing that, sometimes we do change from our partners. And I think expecting, wanting, or assuming other people to change can lead to heartbreak for ourselves, and like we're putting in a lot of energy and not seeing the results that we're kind of wishing for. If we turn some of that energy around and give it to ourselves and just wait until our partners or friends or family reaches out to us and say, hey, can you now support me in this particular way?
Yeah.
Check in with yourself. Can you do it? Do you want to do it? And if you can, you want to, go for it.
I feel like it often comes back around to that too.
And be patient with these things, because people are always changing, and it might just be a temporary thing that this person is feeling.
Especially around such inspiring people. People are going to be changing around you.
Yes, that is very true. That is very true.
These are really good questions. There was one down here too. I love this question, Nicole. Thank you, about polyamory in regards to our families. How do they feel about our relationships, and did we tell them we're in a polyamorous relationship? We get this question a lot, and I really appreciate it because it gives me a moment to just like appreciate our awesome families.
Yeah, that is true.
And we both share openly with our families about our relationships and our desires. And my experience has been that, like, after being so weird in so many areas for so many years, when I was like, I don't want to have relationships with labels anymore, and I just want to like love freely. They're just like, okay, Brittany, like that makes sense. Like, to varying degrees, like some people were like, yeah, me too, and some people were like, I could never do that, and some people were like, I don't understand that. And after years of it now, I feel like everyone like really gets it. Everyone's really on board, and I feel really seen and supported there by my family. They watch my our channel sometimes, and yeah, a lot of them too.
Yeah, I feel like both of our families, you know, our immediate family, thank you, yeah, like is really aware of our relationship. We're all over YouTube, and so if they want to, it's really easy to find out like what we're doing and
like
what's
if we had sex last night.
yeah,
we had
like
sex with each other.
really intimate things. So, and that's just the way that I have grown to really enjoy living life. And my assumption is that everyone knows everything about me, not because I like think that everyone actually knows everything about me,
right,
but that I don't have any secrets, you know, that I need to keep from anyone at any given time. So I just assume that like it's out there, and if it's not, I just talk about it as if it were. Do you know what I mean? So I never at any time kind of went to my family and said, hey, I want you to sit down, I'm going to tell you some news. I'm in an open relationship or whatever, you know, it didn't happen like that, but it's just been kind of an organic unfolding of sharing and feeling really like, natural about it. Yeah. And gosh, I guess I just want to add really quickly that if people are in my life that don't encourage and support and love me, then I'm not going to be in their lives, you know? And it's not like a threat or anything. It's just like, there's so many amazing, beautiful, wonderful, and supportive people out there for us to link up with. Let's link up with them. Yeah. And that's it.
I love it. These questions are also good. And Rose, thanks for writing back about your experience. I love that you shared that with her, and that you guys are friends. And I love that you just want to know her. That's like really so cool. Beautiful. You just sound super amazing. I love everything you said. I want to answer this one because it was the first question written here, and I feel like thank you for starting off our feed.
Let's do it.
It's from Kelly. Thank you, Kelly. Really struggle with self-love. I think it's the root of some issues I'm working through, and the idea of me saying affirmations to myself in the mirror always makes me cringe a little. I think that's because of my struggles to be vulnerable. Anyway, do you have any tips or ideas on how to practice self-love?
Yeah.
We would love to hear our input. Thank you. Yeah, we love practicing self-love in so many different ways, and I don't think there's any right way to do it. I think it's like whatever ways resonate with you the most. So maybe we can just like give you a list of ways that we feel like we love the shit out of ourselves, and if any resonate with you, then awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the simple fact that you took the time for you to sit down and write that question and have us answer it is an act of self-love. And so the best thing, I think, in those moments where you're like, oh, shoot, I just loved myself, is to recognize it and be like, yes, and give yourself a pat on the back and a hug and a little dance and whatever feels good for you, because nothing's going to change if we don't set the intention and the acknowledgement behind it. Because like you can love yourself all day long, but if you're not recognizing that you're doing it, you might as well not be doing it, you know? So. Yeah,
I totally feel that. Mm-hmm. And then outside it, like that may be the biggest.
Yeah, but I mean, to get more specific, I like that idea.
Cool. We do so many things. I think the biggest thing is that like we just try to be as intentional as possible with our lives and to do all the things we love. So it's like dancing, making love, moving our bodies, doing acrobatics, getting massages, creating space for ourselves to like breathe or meditate, to be in nature.
Setting up special time for each other together and setting up special time on our own to like continue our relationship with ourselves. Hey, Derek, how are you? Hi, Hannah. And eating fruit, that's a good one. Sky, definitely.
Yeah, totally.
You know, but even simple stuff like breathing. If you just sit there and have the intention of like, I'm breathing and I love myself. Dude, that is powerful. That is super powerful.
I love journaling. I write a lot, and it helps me. Like sometimes I feel like I know what I'm feeling, but when I actually start writing about it, I become way more clear on my experience and what I'm needing.
Yeah, and so like, what are the ways you really enjoy living life? Is another question to it. And then how can you bring the intention of self-love into those areas where you're enjoying it?
I love that.
I mean, that's great. Like what brings you joy? What are you passionate about? And then start thinking about it as an act of self-love or a practice of self-love. And you will definitely grow and change and heal and all those beautiful things that you're looking for.
Totally. And like if a mantra comes out of that, awesome.
That's great. But it's not
necessary.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to do these things that may be uncomfortable for for you, like standing in front of the mirror and saying, I love you. That can be kind of intense and intimidating and not that fun for some people.
But what's cool is to do it and feel that and then do it like 6 months later and be like,
yeah,
whoa,
right,
that's different than it used to be.
Great point.
Yeah.
Were there any other questions that we haven't gotten to yet?
This one, do you discuss and expect that you and anyone, each of you, has had sex with or having safe sex? This is a good question. We get a...
Okay, so is there an expectation of safe sex, period, with each other outside of our partnership, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I
okay,
think that's the question.
Cool.
And it's like, okay, so this is a topic that I feel like we could discuss for a long period of time, so maybe we can just try to be as concise as possible.
We'll be, specific and also maybe add some of our philosophy to it.
Yeah, we've got just a couple more minutes until Derek and Hannah are on, who are going to rock their session. So I think the most important thing that we like to start with is saying that we do love to connect in lots of different ways with people, and we love to connect sexually with people. And we also that doesn't necessarily mean we're having lots of intercourse.
Right.
There's lots of ways we love to connect sexually. So that's number one.
And there are, I guess, lots of ways that we can share bacteria and, quote unquote, infections and stuff like that, certainly. But the reduction of some of those practices versus having intercourse is quite a lot. So we're not saying it's impossible to, spread an infection by doing acro yoga or dancing, but it's probably a lot lower than putting your penis inside someone else's body or your vagina around somebody's body or whatever.
Right.
So that's just a point that we want to make, is that we're not necessarily having a lot of setups that would call for what is typically known as safe sex.
Yeah, we've been connecting sexually with each other for over 2 years, and I think connecting having intercourse with somebody else or some sort of similar situation has only come up
a handful of times. Yeah. And during those times, I think it's really our preference to put, always it's our preference to put our health first. And that means our full entire body. So we do a lot of intentional work, thinking ahead about what do we want to create in our life? What do we want in this life in terms of health? And I think we really want to maintain the healthiest relationships with people and with our bodies that we can. And so we do absolutely practice anything around that that's going to keep our health safe.
We also make a point of connecting with people who are really full and who we have this open, compassionate communication with. So we're just communicating with them authentically and talking about all the things. So if we are going to have intercourse with them, we're going to talk about it in advance. We're going to know okay, are we going to use a condom, or is this a situation where we don't need that for some reason? And we've just all talked about it, and we just make sure that anything we're going to do feels 100%
really
good to go, so that there's
good.
never a moment where we're wish we hadn't done that.
Yeah, and I just I really want to encourage people around this topic to do what is best and safest for you, because we are all going to have different ideas of what is healthy and what keeps us safe. And our approach might be a little bit different than yours, and that's really okay. But I think having intention in your thoughts will change your life and guide the direction of your creation. And that does have to do with staying healthy,
positive.
Staying healthy in your mind and your body. And if you keep that intention in your heart, I think the decisions that you're going to make, and I think the strength of your immune system will vibrate with those thoughts.
I liked that.
Thank you. Just kind of threw that out there at the end of our. Hope someone's recording this. No, yeah. Any other things before we kind of change the whatever stuff?
I feel thanks, Diane.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
I feel this is almost the end of our session, so it's perfect. The Vegan World Summit just said, what are some questions you two still have about specific topic? What do you ask for help with? Wow. That's a big question.
Are they asking us to ask that question?
No, I think that they're asking us what do we still asking for help with in growing? Yeah, they're asking us.
Got it.
Oh, that spiralizer, by the way, Sky, is the Shimono peeler.
And it's
the handheld.
It's the boss.
It's the baller.
I peeled half of my finger off with it once.
Don't do that, but
it
do
heals.
get it and peel your
heals.
cucumbers.
The thought of positive thought.
Oh my gosh, what are the things we're just growth junkies, Vegan World Summit team.
Yeah.
Ted and Wayne, you studs.
Everything. Yeah, we're still like going, you know.
We're like curious about all the things.
All the things. Developing
inspiration from everyone.
Our relationship, our connections with others, everything is still on the table. The questions are still going.
The one I've been asking myself a lot, I love to ask myself a lot of questions. It's like, how can I be more open? How can I love more? How can I welcome this in? How can I like feel it all? Find my strength in my vulnerability.
Yeah, that's a great one.
It's been a big one. We are.
And yeah, oh my gosh, like everyone inspires me. I think everyone is beautiful.
Oh my
really,
God.
just like so lovely. You know, especially in these different outlets and communities that we're involved in. I just like never come in contact with people that aren't awesome these days. And part of it is that is actually true and happening, that I'm surrounding myself with awesome people. But the other part is that I really have set myself up to see the potential that this person offers to the world. And I think we can all really do that. We can see the best, the most inspiring, the passion in people, and that really shapes our existence in this life. God, you're all so beautiful.
You guys are amazing.
You know? You're so glorious, and you inspire me. You know, it's you, like you. So yeah, I feel really passionate about that. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here for our Q&A. We're going to do one more together, which will be our fourth one. This is our first.
Maybe we'll just talk about sex.
We'll just, yeah, we can do that. But the next, thanks, Rose. Oh my God, you guys are amazing. But the next 2 weeks, I believe it is, we're going to be doing Q&As on our own, talks on our own back-to-back. So
yeah.
We will be in this camper space together physically,
likely, yeah.
So there will be potential for that. But cool. I think Ted's going to come back on now.
Hey guys, that was amazing, super enjoyable. Thanks so much. I listened in the whole time. The headphones here.
Awesome.
Thanks for being here, Ted.
Our pleasure.
That was, dude, such value. Like, you guys talk about stuff that like can't really talk about with this with many other people on the planet. You know, maybe a dozen people on the planet like can bring together, or less, maybe like 2 people. It's you and you three can bring together minimalism and acro and polyamory and raw food and self-love, and then be willing to give it back to the community like this. It's amazing.
Thanks.
What I would love to do right now, if you're open for it, is to have a 5-way with me, you, and Derek and Hannah right here on camera right now.
You know we're down for that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some Derek meat.
We're gonna try this. I haven't done this yet before, so we hope it works. Derek and Hannah, we're just waiting for them to accept right now. Just sent them the invitation.
Accept us, please.
And then we could have all of us on cam. That'd be rad.
That would be so fun.
He's accepted and
Keeping my
connecting.
fingers crossed things are working.
Are we on here? Can you guys see us? Oh, yeah! Here we are.
There we go.
Guys.
I got like spots
Wow.
on my face. What's up?
Look at this.
You're just glowing.
I know. I'm
Wow, you're beaming, Hannah.
No, it's not that. It's
Wow.
all like
Beaming.
over to the left on the bottom.
Are you now I have to do that, Ted. It's like really
This is
cool.
Snapchat for sure. You got a
Oh my
5-way.
God.
Multiple levels of social media.
This is really cool.
You have to get like a piece of tape or something.
All right, I'm gonna.
He's trying
Where's
to
the
make
D-man at?
What's your guys' topic? What are you guys talking about today?
Weight loss.
weight loss.
Sweet.
Yeah. But we just moved our tiny house to our property today, so
Oh my God!
That is
Congratulations!
so badass.
Oh,
Amazing!
that you see
Congrats.
in the vlog. Oh my God! It was
Okay.
both of you guys are kind of living
Yeah.
in a tiny home, except
Ours has a motor.
yeah, yours has a motor. That's the difference. Yours
Fantastic.
has a motor. This is rad. Well, anyways, I'll say goodbye to
Cool.
Conor and Brittany now.
Cool.
We'll take you guys off. And then I think you guys are on this. You guys are on the same time next, or not same time, but
Yeah, we
same time next year?
start an hour earlier next week.
Yeah, we'll be on it. an hour
5
early.
and 6 o'clock.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Cool. Well,
Have a
I'll
great
sign you guys
chat.
off.
Thanks everyone. Much love.
And
See you guys.
Bye.
Have fun, Derek.
Hey guys,
Bye.
see ya.
here we go. Denzel, and they're here. Smooth transition. Actually, I'm gonna end this call and move everyone over to the new group chat. So I just wanted to see what happened if all 5 of us got on camera. That was cool.
Okay.
But I'm gonna close this call and I'll invite you over to the new chat room. Cool.
Inside, not the bottom.